Hi, everyone. It's Mitch here from PickDogs.com. We got Steve. I just can't do this right. Steve, Rod, and Chris. Whatever. You guys know. Got the Puck Dogs. Got Steve Monahan. Got Mitch. And we're here. We got a full card of games today. We've got only 4 NBA games, but we've got full card of college football, big rivalry games. We got Auburn, Alabama. We got Michigan, Ohio State. We've got Wisconsin, Minnesota for the Axe. We've got all kinds of games. We got Bedlam tonight, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. It's just that day, and we're talking about the college football playoff, and Ohio State's won and whatever. I don't see how they're the number one team in the country. I never understand like this thing. College football is the one of the polls and everything that. I mean, these guys clearly don't watch the games. I mean, it's crystal clear. We watch way more college football than these guys do because I'm not sure how beating a Penn State team that kind of struggled against Indiana makes you better than an LSU team that's beat Florida, Alabama, and Auburn. I just don't see it. I mean, maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. It's like, all right, let's just erase that then, right? We'll erase that and we'll say, okay, well, the Big Ten has Minnesota's this year, but Ohio State didn't play them, right? So they have a few teams in there in the rankings. Well, the SEC has 2 teams that you rank in the top 4. So how in the hell is that conference and the strength of schedule coming out of the other conference stronger than this one? So how is Georgia 4 with 1 loss coming out of the same conference, not playing Alabama? They beat Florida? They're 2 wins, right? Florida and Auburn are their 2 wins, right? Who LSU beat plus Alabama. I don't know. It just doesn't even, it never has made sense to me. The only thing that they've gotten right this year, which normally you wouldn't see this, is that Oklahoma beat Baylor and they're ranked ahead of them. Normally, if Baylor won that game, Oklahoma would still be ranked ahead of them. I don't know.
I mean, we had the example of Penn State losing to Minnesota 3 weeks ago, and then the next poll, Penn State's ahead of Minnesota.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. It never has made any sense, and it doesn't make any sense this year. So I'm just not sure. I'm not sure how they come up with this stuff. I don't believe in the eye test. I mean, when a freshman quarterback comes in and throws for 17 points on you in about 4 minutes, all of a sudden your argument of this one defensive end goes out the window. It does. And that secondary and all that stuff. And I'll tell you what, I'll kick it off. And I like Michigan to beat Ohio State today. I think they beat them. I think these games have been close in recent years. We got to remember the Barrett play again in overtime. They stopped him. I had Ohio State that game, and I wanted it to be a first down at the time. I liked the ruling, but reality of it is he was short. And it's like they lost that game. And I don't see how Ohio State goes into Michigan today, into the big house, and beats this Michigan team. I've been the biggest basher of Jim Harbaugh way before he got to Michigan, right? Way before. I've been bashing this guy since he was the quarterback at Michigan, right? Relentlessly.
That's true.
And I don't see how Ohio State beats them today. Last year, I was on the live show, and, I was in the car. Put it this way. I was in the car with Craig Trapp in Vegas. He made me pull over and let him out, and he took a cab back to the place because I was so adamant that Ohio State was going to whip them. I mean, just whip them, and they did. But this year, I don't see it. I see Michigan winning this game. I do not see that offense doing anything against this Michigan defense. I see Jim Harbaugh making some stupid plays, some stupid play calls, conservative, and then ultra conservative, and then on 3rd and 4, decided to throw a 40-yard, slant pattern. I mean, I see that happening because we've seen it a lot. But what I don't see happening is this Michigan defense collapsing in the second half against that Ohio State offense, which has looked really bad in the second half the last two games. I just don't see it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been wrong before, believe it or not, but I just don't see it. We know Steve likes Ohio State. Tell me what I'm missing here, because I just don't think a 5'3" running back against that defense is the answer. And we got a quarterback with an injured hand who couldn't hold on to the ball against much less last week. I know Penn State beat Michigan, but I'll tell you what, the second half of that game was all Michigan, and I really think that was Michigan's wake-up call, was that halftime at Penn State. And I think if they played again today, I think Michigan wins that game. So we saw them dominate Notre Dame. We saw them in the second half against Michigan State, and then last week against an Indiana team that was Ohio State's quality win, right? That was their quality win that they had all season. So I don't understand how that quality win, I mean, Michigan, if that game would have gone another quarter, they could have scored 100. Steve, what are your thoughts here? I know, we could say Chase Young, and, we all have ESPN, right? And I don't watch it because of this stuff, right? But it's like, I don't see it, I don't know. I don't see it.
Again, I mean, I'm not going to waver. I've been touting this. We've been talking about a month, waiting for this game. I just think Ohio State is definitely the better team. I know the game is at the Big House. I'm factoring that in. But I just think Ohio State overall, with their receivers, I like J.K. Dobbins a lot more than you do. I think Justin Fields with the ability to run and throw, injured hand aside. The Ohio State secondary, I think, will shut down the Michigan receivers. I don't have a lot of confidence in Shea Patterson. I think he's a nice quarterback. But it's Michigan. They've been playing very well, all to your point, especially late against Penn State, and that was their wake-up call. I just see in both teams, I think Ohio State's a better team, and I think Ohio State comes out and gives Harbaugh his 5th consecutive loss. And then from there, you always say the alum are going to start passing the hat. He loses today, and if he loses in a bad fashion, it's going to be ugly in Michigan. So I'm not wavering. I think Ohio State's the better team, and I'm going to take Ohio State.
Yeah, I love Michigan here, and I love them on the money line. It was borderline premium pick for me. I didn't give out premium picks in either of the games. Rod, anything about this Michigan-Ohio State game? I know generally you tend to be a dog guy, but I know I'm not in the crowd this week with Michigan, and I've never been in the crowd in Michigan games because I've always been on the other side of them when everyone else is hyping them. And this is the first time in a long time that I've felt this confident in a Michigan team against Ohio State. The last 2 times I felt this confident was the Brian Griese game when Ohio State was ranked number 1 in the country and undefeated, and the other time before that was the Tim Biakabatuka game. Those are the only 2 times that I've really liked Michigan in these games. But today I really feel it. Rod, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking Ohio State. They didn't look so good last week. I don't know how they ended up ranked first. That makes 0 sense to me. They did not play a good game. But to me, what I see, I look as they played this game. They played just enough to win last week. I don't think they put 100% effort into that game at all. It's like, oh, they got a touchdown. They're going to make it a little bit closer. Maybe we better try a little harder. That's what I got from the look of last game, that they were already looking forward to this spot. So
you got senior day, okay? You got senior day in Columbus, okay? You have a pep rally before the game where the coach comes out to the fans and says, we need this stadium the loudest it's ever been, right?
It's going to be
He went into the middle stadium and he said, we need this. We need this. This is the Penn State game, right? This is the one. This is not, the Rutgers game. This is not the Miami of Ohio game. This is the Penn State game. This is, pretty much for this season as big as it gets in the horseshoe. If your team can't get up for that game and play 4 quarters against Penn State, I don't know. I don't see it. Chris, what do you think here? And we know you love your favorites. What do you think?
I think this is a game that's probably decided by a touchdown. I'm not going to be bold enough to say money line, but I definitely think Michigan has enough talent to at least keep it to a 1-score game. I mean, 3 of the last 7 meetings were decided by single digits.
Yeah, these have been close games. It's not like last year was the blowout of blowouts, but generally these games have been very close.
Always, yeah.
Yeah, I like Michigan and the points here.
So let's go. We'll cover the 2 big games, and then we'll kind of go. We'll go back around to the questions. And Rod, of course, lit the lamp yesterday. I mean, whew. If you watched yesterday's show and your bankroll's not at least doubled, then I hear comments all the time about, oh, I lost so much money yesterday or whatever. If you watched this show yesterday and you didn't at least double your bankroll on those hockey picks, you're not doing it right. I don't even know what more to tell you. You get the 3-team parlays, got a money line like one of the big dogs against the best team in the league this year. It's like, I mean, pretty much everything out there, right? I mean, like I said, there's certain days it's like if you can't win that day, this is not for you. Sports betting is just a bad idea. Just like I saw someone post in the Facebook group, and I rarely, call people out or anything like that, but I saw someone post money line on Florida as one of their picks for today. Okay, Florida's minus 1250 on the money line. I point out, if you bet $750 on the Gators, which is a nice healthy wager. I mean, I bet more than that sometimes I bet less, right? But if you just take a nice round number of $750, right, which is an honest wager, right? You win $60 on that. I don't like the value. I just don't like the value. I mean, call me crazy. I don't even see the point of making the bet. It's like, I mean, there have been horses that are 1-9 that have fallen down out of the gate. I mean, it's like, who was it? Someone this season was a 30-point favorite and lost out. Toledo, right? And if you bet like $10,000 on Toledo on the money line in that game, you win $100, and it's like they lost outright. It was was it worth the risk? Yeah,
I think you were saying the one guy bet $1,000.
Yeah, one guy bet $1,000 at season.
Gonna win 25.
Yeah, you win $10. Okay, you win $10 on 1,000. And
that'll get you into the buffet line, though.
Yeah. I mean, at the MAC.
I think that was against Bowling Green too.
Yeah, I mean, on a MAC game, right? Of all places. I don't know, man. I don't understand a lot of the bets in the Facebook group. I'll be honest with you. I like the Facebook group. I love it, but sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I see some bets in there that, while I like pieces of it and I kind of almost understand it, there are other ones that are just like, I need a 17 parlay lock. Well, why stop at 7? Why stop at 7 at that point?
Go for 4.
Anyways, Auburn, Alabama. We'll do this one, and then we'll kind of go around the horn. I like Auburn here. I think Alabama. Auburn's. This is the circle game for both teams. I think Alabama without their quarterback, I think is in trouble against this defensive line. The only thing that kind of scares me is, as much as I used to say Tua gets thrown around like a rag doll, Nick's against the better defense has kind of been thrown around a bunch too. Of course, he's a freshman and he's got some. Auburn's probably going to be top 5 next year, my guess, to start the season, if not 1 or 2. But this year he's been thrown around. You got to look at Auburn's schedule and say he is battle tested. They have played the much tougher schedule than Alabama. They are home for this game. And, of course, Alabama's quarterback out. Of course, Alabama's got that defense, and they have Jerry Jeudy and Waddle, and, it goes on and on. There's no shortage of talent here. But against that Auburn defense, those Alabama skill positions players kind of a little bit neutralized without a quarterback that really can throw the ball down the field like Tua does. But, the Alabama defense against the Auburn offense is not going to be any picnic either,
Right.
So this is going to be a tight game. At least I think so. But I like Auburn here. I like them on the money line as well. I think home dogs in rivalry games in general is not a horrible place to be. We got 3 big rivalries today, all of them home dogs. Minnesota, Auburn, Michigan. I hardly think that all 3 of those teams lose. I just don't see it. But anyways, I like Auburn here. Steve, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% with you on your analysis. I'm all in on Auburn here.
Someone agrees with me. We'll write this down. It is 10:47 a.m. Eastern Time on November 30th, 2019. Somebody agrees with me.
I do. No, I've been looking at this game all week, and again, you hit on all the points. You know, what a rivalry this is. The fact that it's at Auburn. You know, Bo Nix aside, the freshman, but to your point, he's battle tested. You know, great schedule. Alabama really hasn't, outside the LSU game, played a really top team this year for the most part. So I like Auburn here, the home dog here, all the way.
Those of you watching us live, if you joined us late, I have the Puck Dogs, Chris and Rod, with me, and of course Steve Monahan, who's generally with us on Sundays, but decided to join us for this special show that we've been doing. We did this Brady Bunch style yesterday. I really liked it, so we're going to do it as much as we can, but we'll have to see how, you know, it works with everybody's schedule. It's not going to work every day. I know that much, but I kind of like having other people here. It gives me time to look at the screens and do some other things instead of sitting here with paused silence, which is never good. But Rod, what do you? It's like they say, like, you know, when you're on the air, like when you're silent, it's like magnified. You know, like 5 seconds becomes 5 minutes. Rod, what do you think here about this game at Auburn?
It's going to be a tight game, I think, and it's always a battle. But I think Alabama scores a touchdown late and covers the 4 points. It's at 4 right now, I think. I'll take Bama by they cover the 4.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm starting to be talked onto the other side here. My original pick was Alabama minus 3.5 because I think, well, I had it at 3.5. It's up to 4 now.
Yeah, it's 3.5.
I think Alabama, if somebody slips up and they slip out of the top 4, I think that Alabama needs that signature win to overshadow the light schedule they've played so far. But
these are the games. You know,
yeah, you've got two. I want to say inexperienced quarterbacks. Nix has more experience than Mac Jones does. And if you give me the situation of having 2 young quarterbacks in a rivalry game like this, I'm probably going to want the guy that's at home. Yeah, you know what? I'll flip it to Auburn plus 4.
All right. College football is my game. You know, college football and boxing are my 2 sports that I love the most. And, you know, it's games like this. You know, it's days like today which make it my favorite game. These are the games when I grew up, you know, when I was a little kid, I would pretend to be a football announcer, and I'd be, the earth will move in Auburn, you know, and the ground will be shaken, you know, and it's like that, you know, that's why Alabama's mascot is the elephant, you know, it's like the herd of elephants, the earth will shake, you know, and the tide take the field. That is why they are the elephant. But anyways, yeah, I love these games, you know. I love it, man. I love the way, like, when Minnesota, Wisconsin, when the game is over, you know, we'll be watching today. I'll be on at halftime of Michigan, Ohio State, and halftime of Auburn, Alabama for sure, and probably Bedlam tonight as well. But I think that to me, of all these trophy games, I mean, I think, you know, the war that happens in Ohio State and Michigan, how the guys in Michigan, Ohio State, the one thing to look for that you don't see in a general college football game is that players from the opposing team help the other players up in that game. It's one of those games, okay, where it's a serious rivalry game, but it's like you'll see an Ohio State player smack Michigan player, and he'll stick his hand down and he'll help him up. You don't see that in normal games. You'll see that in that game. It's one of the things that's specific to that rivalry. And then another thing that you'll see is that when the Wisconsin-Minnesota game is over, whoever wins that game, as soon as that clock hits 0, the entire team runs to get the axe. And the first guy there just grabs it, just picks it up, and, you know, they're just going crazy. But it's like they don't even, like, stop to shake hands, look at anything, pour any Gatorade, nothing. It's a sprint to the axe, and it's awesome to see, you know, because it's like, you know that, like, you can tell. That's the difference. It's the difference between pro sports and college sports, is that this is why they play, you know, is for games like this. And when, you know, And that's like when Jerry Kill won the Little Brown Jug. He was like, 3 years ago I was coaching in front of 400 people. Who would have ever thought I'd be carrying around this thing?
Yeah.
It was like, and meanwhile we see Jerry Kill at Virginia Tech. He's actually back on the sidelines, assistant coach. But anyways, let's get to some questions here, and a lot of good games today. We didn't go over many of them, but we hit this one already. So we did Ohio State, Michigan. But good morning to everyone that's joining us. We got the Puck Dogs. We got Steve with us. And, of course, if you're watching us, if you could hit the thumbs up, greatly appreciated. Subscribe to our channel. This stuff costs you $0. It helps us a ton. And I think we give out more than enough value to justify asking for it. So, we got 133 people watching and 41 likes. That doesn't add up to me. Takes nothing. But so first question here. What's the Puck Dogs think of the Blues winning with so many injuries? And we know the Puck Dogs have been on the Blues. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll eat some crow after last night. I thought Dallas was going to beat him at home, and St. Louis just came out. They're looking like the defending champions. They're playing really well right now. And, I mean, they've lost guys like Sundqvist and Tarasenko, but that hasn't stopped the train from rolling. They're playing really well, and the goaltending's standing up. There's not many bad things you can say about St. Louis right now.
Cool.
How about you, Rod?
No, that's why I said I was like, they're the defending cup champs. They're playing good, and it's just like any other thing. Somebody goes down, the next guy comes in. Hockey's a huge team game, and if the team's not on the same page, you ain't winning.
How much of that comes from the coach, and how much comes from the players?
Probably a little bit of both. The coach has a good system in place, and the players have bought right into that, and they get out and they try.
I mean, you also got to take into consideration a lot of this is still the same team from last year, the same team that rallied around Craig Berube when he took over the head coaching reins from Mike Yeo. Like this is just a core team that's been through it all together, and they're playing like it.
So how about tonight's game? We got the Penguins and the Blues. Chris?
Yeah, I'm going St. Louis in regulation plus 115. Yeah, Pittsburgh still has a lot of the talent, but I'm a little bit suspect of Pittsburgh's goaltending right now. Matt Murray's given up 13 goals in his last 3 games, and he's probably getting the start here with Tristan Jarry starting last night. Yeah, I think you got to go with St. Louis at home here.
Rod?
I'm the same. You can't waver. I got not getting off the Blues train.
Yeah, I even liked them yesterday, so that's pretty much wasn't the kiss of death there. We go to this game, Indiana versus Purdue for the Old Oaken Bucket. I think really one of the great coaches in college football who really did not have a lot of luck this year, Jeff Brom, who decided to stay at Purdue. He was offered the job at his alma mater at Louisville and turned them down. They ended up with a pretty good coach over there themselves. So I don't think they're shedding too many tears as there's a few guys at Miami that I always look at the lower ranks and I say, man, I would take this guy in a heartbeat, and they got one of them. But meanwhile, Indiana and Purdue for the bucket, the Old Oaken Bucket, another one of these trophy games. It's a great trophy, the Old Oaken Bucket, and it will be out after this game. I personally like Purdue in this one. I like them with the points. I think they have a good chance to win this game. We saw them play pretty well against Wisconsin, who's way better than Indiana. And Indiana, it's just some questionable coaching all the way. I just don't really understand what's going on in that sideline. And it's like this. So he goes. If he loses today, it's 7-5. If he wins, he's 8-4. So he's very hard to fire at that point, which makes it just a difficult situation in Indiana. And this is kind of where we were as Dolphin fans in the 80s and 90s, in the 90s really, and early 2000s when Don Shula was kind of at the end of his run for the Dolphins, where they're kind of always a playoff team, but they couldn't get to the Super Bowl, so it wasn't good enough, and it's like you let them go, and now it's they haven't seen a whiff of a winning season in 20 years, and meanwhile, those 11-5 and 10-6 seasons don't seem so bad anymore. But in college football, it's a different story where every Saturday is a playoff game, and this guy's not going to get you there. At this point, it's obvious. He's an okay recruiter where he can get one good wide receiver and one good running back, and he can't even decide if he's got a good quarterback or not. I like Purdue in this one. I also think that this will probably be the last crack that Indiana has to beating Purdue in a very long time. I don't see Indiana in a favorable spot against Purdue, going forward with these coaches. Steve, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I like Purdue absolutely with the points today. You hit on Tom Allen, very questionable coaching, and the fact again, if he loses, he's 7-5 or 8-4, so he's not going anywhere at least for a year. Jeff Brom, to your point, could have gone back to Louisville, so he's all invested in Purdue, and I think Purdue's the better team here, and I like Purdue in the points.
Puck Dogs, any opinion here, Rod or
I'm with you. Purdue in 7 points. Thanks, I'll take them.
Yep.
They're home here. This Indiana team's a god awful all year.
Yeah.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm on Purdue as well.
Wow, we got a consensus on a dog here.
Damn.
It's a rare day here.
It is. Very rare.
I mean, Indiana's only covered 3 of their last 10 trips to Purdue, so it's been a hard place for them to play over the years.
Go to Atlanta for clean old-fashioned hate. Georgia against Georgia Tech. It's a big game here for Georgia, hanging on to that number 4 spot in the playoffs. It's a weird situation here because they got LSU next week, and just how much do they keep their foot on the gas? Surprisingly, the Georgia offense has not really put up the gigantic numbers that I thought they would, and I really
not even close. Not even
really
close.
like the running back situation there. I've liked the running back situation in Georgia for about 50 years, and I still like it. And I'll tell you, like when as a Hurricane fan, whenever we got a guy that was committed to Georgia to decommit and come to Miami, we were always excited, When James Jackson decommitted from Georgia and went to Miami, it was a party because we knew, we knew we had a guy, and we've seen it, and even the guys that don't play at Georgia end up being good, and you can make the field at Georgia, you're even better. But Georgia Tech is kind of in a transitional year, and I don't love the hook here at 28.5, but I think you still got to lay it. I'm going to take Georgia here. Steve?
Yeah, Paul Johnson was a real good coach at Georgia Tech. They were always competitive. To your point, it's definitely a transitional year. Georgia Tech stinks this year. Georgia, are they going to put the foot on the pedal all 4 quarters? I think they will cover the points. I'm not crazy either about 28.5, but they're the much better team. It's a rivalry game in Georgia, so they'll take Georgia. They got to, if they want to be in that top 4, they got to make a statement, and they haven't really scored like 50, 60 points like they're capable of, but I think they definitely win in the 30s today, and I'll take the Bulldogs here.
Yeah, I think they put them away early and then put the scrubs in, is my guess. Clean old-fashioned hate there in Atlanta. Puck Dogs, any opinion here, Rod?
Yeah, I'm on Georgia, too. No way I can back Georgia Tech here.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm going to be the black sheep. I'm going to take Georgia Tech in the points.
It hasn't been a close series. I could see Georgia Tech because so many people are on Georgia in this game.
Georgia's just been winning games with their defense. You look at their last 6 games; they haven't broken more than 24 points.
No, they haven't, but they haven't played against Georgia Tech either.
This is true. This is true. I think they've been
playing against. Look who they've been playing.
No, I know. And that's, But
you go to Auburn and put more than 17 points on the board. You tell your old man to drag Lampier and walk up to court for 48 minutes. So it's Team A versus Team B with the point spread. So like questions like this and this, we're really not going to be able to address those. It's got to be in this type of format. So everybody knows exactly who's playing in the game and what type of question that we're addressing. So, and you can just restate your question if you didn't state it that way the first time. We'll get to it the next time when it's done. Marshall -9 against FIU. FIU coming off that win against Miami last week and now getting 9 points on the road against Marshall. 6-5 meets 7-4. We got two bowl teams here.
There you go.
Steve, anything
FIU. I'll take FIU and the points here.
How about you, Chris? Anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll take FIU with the points as well.
How about you, Rod?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like FIU and give me 10 points. Thank you.
I'm going to take Marshall. I just think that something looks funny there as far as the number. 67% on Marshall here, and the line's also moved 1.5 points in that direction. The world on Marshall with FIU coming off of that big win against Miami. FIU, the reason why that the number has moved so much is because FIU sucks on the road. And I say sucks over stink because they suck on the road. Like, suck. 0-4 against the number. Not a whiff of a cover. They've lost to much worse than this, by a lot worse than this.
Okay, can I change my pick?
Yeah, I'm staying up.
Marshall's hope Doc isn't too conservative today. Doc Holliday, great coach. Joe Kavanaugh is laughing his ass off. Georgia defense. Hey, guys. Good morning. Morning. You guys are awesome. Fab Four. Do you think Northwestern will cover the spread? Team A versus Team B with the point spread, and we'll gladly answer it. I think I should be like that across the board. Team A versus Team B with the point spread. Wyoming versus Air Force, -13.5. I haven't looked a lot at this game. I'll be honest with you.
Huh?
I got it at 11. So this line is not even close. Generally, we ignore lines that are off by this much, but Air Force is -11, 5-0 at home this season. One of those, we got inverse line movement with the Force opening as 10.5-point favorites and now up to 11 with only 38% on them. 5-0 at home this season, 3-2 against the number. While Wyoming 1-4 straight up on the road, but 3-2 against the number, getting 11 points. The Cowboys, I mean, they've been pretty good this season.
Yeah. This is a tough one. I've been in on Air Force all year, as you know, Mitch. The fact that they're home, but Wyoming is sneakily good, and I think it's too many points, and I'm going to take the Wyoming Cowboys here.
Okay.
With the points. I like Air Force to win the game, but I think the points, I'll take Wyoming here. It's a close game.
How about you guys, Rod? Anything?
Yeah, I got to take the Wyoming with the points too.
Chris?
Yep, me too.
I'll go with Air Force just to be on the other side.
75% of us on Wyoming. You got to take the
Well, I like inverse line movement, so it's like I can never get away from the inverse line movement. Explain to me then how 62% of the bets are on Wyoming, but the line moves a half a point the other way. Air Force is undefeated at home this season. It's like it's this game always has weather too.
True.
UTSA versus La Tech. This is a lousy game. La Tech has been inundated with injuries, but my guess is that looking at this line, they're probably healthy again. Let me see this game on the board. Yeah, we're gonna have to get. Oh, there. No, we'll have to get back to it. I don't see it. Hi. Snow and 15-mile-an-hour winds. Yeah, I think if it's not snowing in Minnesota, it's a surprise, right? It's like I don't think a November 30th game in Minnesota. I don't think people are expecting 85 and sunny for that one. Nevada -6.5 versus
Taylor run the ball
UNLV.
30 times, man.
Nevada versus UNLV. Anybody?
I'll take Nevada. I don't even know what the points are, but UNL. This is
6.5.
football, right? Yeah, I'll take Nevada. UNLV is just garbage. You garbage.
You
They
are.
are garbage.
UNLV, you garbage.
They are garbage, but
No
one thing
offense to you, Chris, wearing that shirt. Go for the basketball team. They're better.
one thing though that we've seen from UNLV, from Nevada this season, is they've had the ability to get whooped also.
True.
You know, it's like
Yeah,
Let's say
UNLV
this is a game that I'm running to the window to bet. I am not running to bet this game up.
No.
They are way better on the board.
Nevada for me.
Yeah, I don't think it would look very good if I wore the shirt and then didn't take UNLV. So I'll take UNLV here.
I got to take UNLV myself on this one. It's way too much inverse line movement on this game for me to pass. We have in this game, it's seriously ugly. It's not even like close. 23% of the public on UNLV, yet the line moves from 7.5 to 7. This is not a good team, and this game is in the town that moves the line. So you got to figure that the people making those bets are somewhat familiar with what's going on here. So I'm gonna take UNLV in this one. Not that anyone is shocked. Anyways, of course, if you're watching us, I'm here with the Puck Dogs and with Steve Monahan. If you guys can hit the thumbs up, it's greatly appreciated. We got 157 people watching, 90 thumbs up. I think we can do better than that. It's 100% free to hit the thumbs up. If you're watching on a mobile device, you shrink the comments, you hit the thumbs up, and then it says live chat, and you click on that, and you're right back to where you were. All right, finally a hockey question after these guys killed it yesterday. It's like you would think we would have tons of hockey. Any thoughts on Sabres versus Maple Leafs minus on the puck line? Rod with double Maple Leafs garb today. He's jumping on the bandwagon as the Leafs are hot.
The Leafs lost, but with Hutchinson in net, which is kind of sad. The Leafs didn't come out any support. They started off, looked good, and then they just fell apart again. So coach or no coach, the best play in this game is the over. There's going to be some more goals again. I would take the over here. And you know what? Just because it says Leafs here and Leafs here, I'm going to take Buffalo on the money line.
Buffalo on the money line. Straight up. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm with Rod. I like the over here as well. But I'm actually going to side with Toronto on the puck line.
So
Buffalo's only won 5 of the last 22 in Toronto. And you know what? I think that Toronto bounces back. They just, Hutchinson said last night he was struggling to see the puck after having so many adjustments from the NHL back down to AAA, back up to the NHL. Anderson's, he does give up a couple of goals, but I think Toronto bounces back at home here.
yeah, I don't know. You got a minus 240 favorite here, 70% of the bets on one side, and the line also moving from 227 to 240. It's kind of just the world and the world and the world on the Leafs in this game, which usually for me means to stay away. And you guys don't see.
I will say a high-scoring game. I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo pulls it out, but I think Toronto bounces back at home.
The better play on this game is the over.
Yeah, the better play is the over for sure.
Go to college hoops and Florida State versus Purdue. I'll tell you, I was wrong on both of them yesterday. So not sure why you would ask me today, unless you're maybe thinking about going the other way. I had Tennessee against Florida State, and I also had VCU against Purdue. So I was 0 on these guys yesterday. But at this point, I have to say that it's time maybe we start paying attention to Florida State. That maybe at least pre-January they're not choking the way that they have in the past, and they've been a lot better team than maybe I've given them respect for. They won. The loss on the road at Pitt, I held it against them. But then they had the nice win at Florida. They beat, they beat Tennessee. They're a good team. Purdue, I'm less than confident in this season. I know they return a lot of players, but for them, the one player that doesn't return is Carson Edwards, who I thought was pretty much the whole team last year. And I know they had the Harms, and I know they got this guy and whatever, but I don't love Purdue. I like the way FSU is playing right now. I'm just going to stick with them as the hotter team. Any of you guys, any opinion on this one? I know college.
I like Florida State myself here. I think they're the better team.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah,
How about you?
As do I like Florida State as well, getting the 3 point.
Rod?
Yep.
Same. I like Florida State. They looked pretty good yesterday.
Yeah, I think they looked great. They looked really good against Florida, and I kind of threw it out because I'm still bitter about the Pitt game, I'll be honest. Anyways, Steve, Northwestern, I don't know where you guys get your – oh, it is. It's 6.5. Illinois, this line is a major line dropper. Illinois down from 10.5 to 6.5 against Northwestern, who has been terrible this season. Major inverse line movement here. 73% of the public on Illinois, and Northwestern plus 6.5. They have done nothing this year, but they have owned this series in recent years. But they've had a lot better teams. Illinois had a lot worse teams. Illinois has been one of the better bargain teams out there. Even when they lose, they win. For us.
Yeah. They covered against Michigan, right?
Yeah, they covered against Michigan. They covered against Wisconsin. 8-3. Covered against Iowa. 8-3 against the spread. I don't know. Northwestern 0-4 on the road. 2-9 against the number this year, and the line has dropped a full 4 points.
I'm all in on Illinois here. Just to your point, Northwestern. They've always been competitive under Pat Fitzgerald, but for some reason they just don't have the horses this year. And Illinois has played well, and to your point, they've been covering against much better teams. So I don't see any reason not to take Illinois here.
That seems like a drop number that somebody's out. Is somebody out for Illinois?
I'm not sure. I'm checking right now.
That's a crazy number that dropped.
Right? It's crazy.
Well, Williams is out. So that's pretty big. I still don't see it, but that's, I don't get it. But how about you guys? Puck Dogs, anything on this one? I like the under personally. I'm going to take under.
I'll take Illinois and win by a touchdown.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'll take Illinois too. Northwestern hasn't covered any of their last 6 games, so
they've been lousy.
They're having trouble with the number.
Morning. SMU -3 versus Tulane. Tulane is one of these teams that's been involved in a lot of weird point spreads this season. SMU, of course, the Ponies were strong most of the early part of the season. They were unbeaten and were kind of trying to make some noise on the outside looking in. Now they take on the Green Wave. 3-point favorites to close it out. Any thoughts here?
I like SMU. Obviously they tripped up a couple weeks ago, but they had a good season. I think they're a better team. Tulane is kind of, Tulane's no joke here, but I just think with the point spread, SMU will prevail. Definitely win by a touchdown.
It's a tough one for me because Tulane has been a crazy cover team this season.
Right.
Crazy good cover team. 8-3 against the number. SMU just 6-5, and SMU 2-point drop at home on Senior Day from pretty big year for SMU in this one too. I don't know. I think this is one of those ones where the public is and where the sharps are wrong. You got 21% on Tulane with the line dropping 2 points. The Sharps aren't always right, and I think this is where they are wrong. I like SMU in this one.
I like SMU too.
Chris?
Yeah, I played Tulane personally. I think that they have a chance to win it outright. So
I think they have a chance too, but to me it just seems like I think it's one of those spots, kind of like the Cleveland Browns, where the Sharps are wrong.
yeah.
Texas State versus Coastal Carolina. I don't know.
I don't know.
Coastal for me. Should we do a group coin flip on this game?
Yes, please.
Yeah. It's like we got a lot of ground to cover. Here, let's Rod and I sync up on this. Then we'll just call it
Power,
consensus.
activate.
So Coastal's
We got-
head Texas State.
Watch, you're each going to get one.
I got Coastal.
I got heads.
Yep, me too.
I'm in on Coastal then.
Yeah, I'm not betting that game.
No.
If that's a game you feel like you need to bet, we're all
Come on,
Cal
people,
versus-
let's get some good games. There's lots on the board. What's with these?
This is an interesting one, I thought. I did a video on this one, spending much more detail. Cal versus UCLA, even money. I like UCLA in this one. It's such a weird thing. UCLA was playing well, and then they're not playing well, and it's like, but they're not playing well was against Utah, and then against USC, where I always think in these rivalry games, if they're not these hard-fought bloodbaths till the bitter end, that if one of the rivals gets the crack open, that generally they'll take the crowbar and just rip a hole right in the thing. And I think that's what happened in that USC-UCLA game and we saw it last year in Ohio State, Michigan, where they find something and they just beat it into the ground, and they have no problem rubbing the salt in the wound because it's like, we got to play these guys every year. Yeah, we got to play them keep scoring, and I think that's what happened to UCLA last week. But I think against Cal, I don't see Cal scoring all that many points. And I think that's going to be their problem here. UCLA is underrated talent-wise, and I think it's a matter of Chip Kelly. I give him another year. He's getting another year, so there's not really much to say.
He's definitely getting him.
I guess you could. Say that. Terrell Pryor was stabbed. Holy smokes! Anyways,
Oh, yeah?
I wish him well. Critical condition.
Full condition, Terrell Pryor, huh? Well,
Yeah, it's bad. I wish him the best, but I think I like UCLA here. I think UCLA has better talent than people think.
yeah. I think UCLA obviously can put a lot of points up, they're very inconsistent. We've talked about it, but I think this is a week where they're just going to score a lot of points. Cal's not very good this year, so I'll take UCLA as well.
Rod?
I like UCLA too. I think this is one you can find an alternate line and make some
Chris?
bucks.
I like Cal. 4-1 against the spread on the road, and the line's shifted 3.5 points to only 53% on UCLA. So
They have good defense. So, those of you that are new to the show, when you form out a question, it's got to be Team A versus Team B with the point spread or total. So, like this is correct. Like this would be incorrect. The reason why we have that is so anybody watching, they don't need to know who they're playing or anything like that. We have all the information right there for them, and we'll gladly answer your question. Got Montreal Canadiens versus the Flyers. We know Rod has been on the Flyer bandwagon. We're getting him at plus money here. Rod, you still on the Flyers? Saturday
Definitely.
night in
Yeah,
Canada.
definitely. The Flyers are 6-2 in the last 8 in Montreal. They like to beat up on this Montreal team, and this Montreal team, their defense has been garbage. Price is trying to do it all stand on his head, but he can't. He's getting frustrated. I see another blowout here. I'm going to take Flyers on the money line, and I'm also going to sprinkle a little bit on the Flyers minus 2.5 at plus 540.
Whoa.
Well,
Chris?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I'm going to go 2.5, but I like Philadelphia here as well. The Montreal's been outscored 14-5 in their last 2 home games. Philadelphia's won 3 in a row on the road. I just don't see how you could lay money with Montreal, even if they're favored for a win here. I'll put a little bit on Philly -1.5 at +325 though.
We got Notre Dame versus Stanford earlier in the week. I leaned to Stanford. I'm going to switch sides on this one. I had a chance to really look at the numbers here, and I could see Notre Dame winning this one by 50. I don't see – this is the worst team Shaw has had at Stanford. And, Brian Kelly against bad teams, when he's a guy, when he finds a wrinkle, he keeps scoring. And I could see Notre Dame doing that. They have to kind of dress it up just in case they have any chance at all of making the playoff, or, if there's any doubt about them making one of the bigger bowl games, because they don't have to split the money with anyone, so it's way bigger for them than it is for most teams. I like Notre Dame. I think they would shed Stanford here, and it is a borderline premium pick. Even though I've gone with a lot of home dogs here, this is one of the road favorites that I like. There's a few road favorites that I like as well, but I'm just saying in this one I like ND. Most people know. Those are words that seldom come from this mouth.
I know that's to be a fact.
Who do you
but
like?
I'm going Notre Dame as well here. I was thinking Stanford midweek, but to your point, this is one of the worst Stanford teams. Although they typically play Notre Dame very well. In fact, beat Notre Dame more often than not in the last 10 years. But I like Notre Dame with the points here. I think they do business pretty well today. Cover.
Yeah, I like Notre Dame here.
Chris?
I like Stanford. It's like you guys said, that there's a history of close games, even though this is a really down Stanford team. Underdogs had a lot of success, 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 meetings. I think this is a game that Notre Dame just plays not to lose.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Tennessee versus VCU in college basketball. I'm gonna take Tennessee, because if I don't, their fans, they just kill me. They just crush me. I have no opinion in this game. I think it is a coin flip game, but I'm not even gonna flip the coin. Just gonna take Tennessee because I don't want to hear it. It's my college football Saturday, and I don't feel like being abused. Steve.
Same thing. I'll take Tennessee. I don't want to get the wrath of the volunteer faithful.
Jesus, man, it's like I don't. This is crazy, Rod.
I'm up in Canada. I think I might be safe. I'm going to take VCU.
How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm. We're in Canada. We're safe. We're good. You guys got to get over the border first before you come get us. So
yeah, I don't think they're coming. Where they come is on YouTube.
They're not coming that north for you. That's
We got Capitals and the Red Wings. Red Wings puck line is the call here. They're asking if the Red Wings are worth a play on the puck line. Rod hasn't come within.
Red Wings.
Rod doesn't even like saying Red Wings these days. How about tonight? You think tonight's the night?
No, this game has got my best bet written all over it, and it ain't gonna be for the Red Wings. I'm taking Washington here. Washington's going to come in and pound the Red Wings.
Puck line or straight up?
Minus 2.5, plus 185.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, same here. This got best bet all over it for me as well. I like Washington -1.5, and I will pull the Rod special, and I'll do -2.5 as well.
There you go. Wake Forest versus Syracuse. I liked Wake earlier this week, and I've been on Wake a bunch this season, but they've been so bad on the road. I'm going to take Syracuse here. Maybe it was a wake-up call last week for Syracuse against Duke, and they had a freshman quarterback. They kind of decided to take their lumps this season, and they knew it early that they were going to have problems, and they kind of just wrote it out, saying, you know what, this is for a better future. And I think the future in college football or in any sport, it starts at the end of the prior season, and we're starting to see it from Syracuse now. I've liked Wake a lot this season, but the last few weeks have been terrible, and that's because they played almost all their early games at home, and then once they went on the road, it was ugliness. I'm going to take Syracuse as a home dog here, plus the 5.
Yeah, me too. I think Syracuse, obviously, it's been a tough year, but they started playing well towards the end of the year now. Wake, obviously, off to a great start, and now kind of wavering a bit. So I'll definitely take Syracuse in the points here.
How about you guys, Rod?
I'll take Syracuse in the points, too.
How about Chris?
I'm gonna go Syracuse money line.
Money line on the Qs. I think that's a pretty good bet too. I'm not saying safe bet. I think it's a good bet. I like it. I like that Syracuse money line. So Team A versus Team B with the point spread. I like this question. I'll leave that up there while we talk about the other ones. Any good games this morning? Nah, not really.
No, we're just
we're just hanging out.
Ohio State, Michigan, that's okay.
Pass the beer nuts. Anyways, Predators versus Panthers. Over under 6.5. Rod?
Under. I'll take the under here, under 6.5.
One thing about David Stanton, he always compliments you guys on your wins. That's for sure. So give him a good one. Under 6.5. Chris?
I'm gonna pound the over here. You know, Florida's 3rd in the league in scoring. Nashville's 7-2. The over is 7-2 in their last 9 on the road. Florida, the over's 9-2 in their last 11 at home. I think this is high scoring all over it.
Okay, guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up. Greatly appreciate it. Subscribe to our channel. Clemson minus 27 against South Carolina. I did a video on this one. I love the over. Steve?
I love Clemson here. I love the over. I think Clemson, and again, people, I don't know if they're obviously remember where Georgia lost to South Carolina. We talked about Georgia early in the show. Clemson is just plateauing. They're the much better team. I love Clemson here pounding South Carolina.
Rod?
Yeah, I love Clemson pounding South Carolina too. They cover easy.
Yeah, I got Clemson.
All right, sorry for cutting you guys off. I'm just trying to squeeze it in. We've got a lot of ground to cover and not much more time to do it. Got Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State, over under 70. This is an interesting game to me. Oklahoma has been horrible against the spread in recent weeks against the better teams. And one thing, you guys know I don't watch a lot of pregame or anything like that. I just generally I watch. Oh man, I watch ESPN all the time. Yeah, me too. If there's a game on. I don't watch to hear what these guys have to say because I don't believe it. When I see the rankings, it just makes me think that these guys don't watch the games. It bugs me. And then also you get the hype factor. They hype the teams that are going to be on their network. So obviously, that's why those teams are ranked higher because they get more hype than the people that don't watch the games. It's when I was a kid, we dreamed about having an ESPN or something like that. And we just had a few games a week. We dreamed about it. Now that we have it and we have all these games, I think sometimes it gets to be a little bit too much. But anyways, this one, Oklahoma versus Oklahoma State. Reason why I said this is the Mullet really came out with some really strong comments and statistics. And it's like you could tell this guy, well, he hasn't been sleeping much. And, so I know this because this is how I am. I don't sleep much. So it's like, what do you do in these, 2 o'clock in the morning when you're awake? You start digging through numbers, start crunching things together. And the Mullet has figured out that Jalen Hurts has run more than any Oklahoma quarterback in the history of Oklahoma quarterbacks, which is crazy considering they run the wishbone there. And Jamel, he's had these numbers, Thomas Lott, Jamel Holloway, and all these guys. How many times?
Thompson.
Yeah, he was like, how many times have these guys run in a season? And then he said, and look at this guy. He's like, they're running the wishbone out of the spread. He's like, so basically what he's done is it is a shot at Lincoln Riley, is what that is. He's saying he's seen as this offensive genius, but really all he's doing is running the wishbone, setting it up in a spread. He might be onto something here. And I'll tell you, we've seen it before in Alabama. You tee off on Jalen Hurts, the results are not pretty because when you force him to throw the ball down the field, He's not good at it unless he's on the run and the guy's wide open. That's when he's really good at it. I mean, they ran him out of Alabama. They ran him out of there. He made it to the national championship game twice. They ran him out. So we know Oklahoma gives up points in bunches. I like Oklahoma State in the game. I think it's another chance for a money line home dog in a rivalry game. I think Oklahoma State easily has if not the best running back in the country, one of the top 5. I think there's 3. I know I can name 3 or 4 running backs off the top of my head that are NFL sure things, right? Oklahoma State guy, Etienne. I think DJ Dallas at Miami, and I know you guys say, "Oh, you're partial, whatever." No, it's you think this Dobbins guy is good. DJ Dallas, I mean, nobody can lay a glove on him. You know, he's one of those guys that, I mean, he's a typical Miami running back that, you know, plays in the NFL for 12 years. You know, but I think that Oklahoma's going to have trouble stopping him. I do. They haven't been able to stop anybody else, so I don't see how they stop him. Can the Oklahoma State defense stop Oklahoma with this philosophy of just headhunting Jalen Hurts, which I love. I love the strategy. I love that he's announced it. I love that he's called them out, and I love that he's got these numbers and he says, this is pretty obvious, you know? It's like, how come nobody else has figured this out? We're going to see if it works. My guess is Oklahoma's still able to score plenty of points in this game. I like the over 70. How about you guys? Steve?
Yeah, I like the over 70, and I actually like Oklahoma State in a close game. I can see it being, a touchdown game here.
44-42 type thing, right?
Totally. Yeah, so I'll definitely take Oak State and the over here.
How about you, Rod?
Yeah, this is a rivalry game. You always see these two teams bash each other in a close game. And what's the point spread at now? You're going to 12. Yeah, plus 12. Thanks. That sounds like an easy cakewalk winner to me. I'll take that.
Chris?
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to side with the under. I just think that they battle back and forth. I also like Oklahoma State with the points, and I'm going to put a little bit on Oklahoma State money line.
And the under?
Yeah,
all right.
Under 69.
Okay. Texas A&M LSU last year, controversial calls abounded. They stuck this one on the SEC network. I always say, stick it on the SEC network, the Big Ten network. If you need something to absolutely happen, and you're going to let that happen at all costs, that's what they did last year. I think LSU remembers, and I think they are. I also don't think that LSU likes that they were relegated to number 2. And Ed Orgeron is never going to come out in an interview and say, how come they dropped us to number 2 or whatever. Not his style, not his thing, not the way he recruits, not the way he does things. Never, ever, ever would he say, he's like, now I'm going to have to play Clemson in the first round instead of playing, who knows, it's like if I beat Georgia, right? If they lose to Georgia, then it might be a rematch, with or something. Who knows what happens then, right? If they lose to Georgia. But I don't know. I think that we've seen Texas A&M play pretty well in a lot of spots this season against, once again, that roughest schedule of any. You talk about Ohio State. How are they the number 1 ranked schedule or number 2 ranked schedule in the country when you look at Texas A&M playing Alabama, Clemson, Auburn, Georgia? I don't understand how they make strength of schedule. It's like if you play 3 of the teams ranked in the top 4, I think that you've run the gauntlet. I mean, how much more, what more do you want, I could see Texas A&M hanging in this game, though. I could see it happening. It's a tough call, right? This line looks about right. I don't know. Give me LSU after last year's game. Steve?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, LSU, I think, is pissed off that Ohio State jumped them, and I don't see any reason. I think we all agree there was no validation for that. Texas A&M, to your point, they really, we just talked about the schedule. But I just think LSU has to make a statement here, and I think the way Joe Burrow's been passing the ball and all around LSU talent, I think they can win by 20 points. So I like LSU to cover here.
Yeah, I like it. LSU as well.
Chris?
Yeah, I like Texas A&M. It's like you said, the Aggies are battle tested, and I just no. I think LSU has a little out of the corner of their eye looking ahead to Georgia next week, but I still think that Texas A&M can keep this one within maybe 2 touchdowns.
I think I think Jimbo Fisher's had a nice recruiting card to play here with this schedule, and it's like you want to show the NFL what you're made of. Play this schedule and see what they say, what you did against these guys, and that's what the NFL does do. At least unless you're like a combine guy, right? Like a Phil Dorsett or something. It's just a combine guy. And we have a lot of guys. We've had a lot of combine guys. Kyle Bowler was a great combine guy. Great combine guy. He threw the ball from his knees 60 yards through the goalpost. It's like that skill served him really well as quarterback of the Ravens. I never understand the combine guys. Tony Mandridge, great combine guy. But I think it is a big recruiting thing, and I know that my guys, Miami, has a big game on the schedule, not next year, but the following year, and it's going to be a huge recruiting thing for us. We played Bama in that opener. Anyways, Nashville versus Florida. The Panthers minus 135. Rod?
I'll take the Panthers here.
Chris?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to stick with the over. Florida's starting a rookie goaltender. He's making his first start in the NHL today. And Nashville, they're back to struggling right now. So my better play is just the over.
Okay. We did this one. No idea what that means. We did this one.
How about my New York Rangers at the New Jersey Devils? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
They're saying
one?
that Terrell Pryor probably is not going to make it. That's terrible.
No.
Wow. It's just anytime you see anything like that to anybody, it's terrible. Rod, Rangers and Devils.
I love the over. Over, I think, is the best play on this game. Over is 9-0-2 in the last 11 in Jersey. I think we're going to get some goals here, and I'm going to take Rangers on the money line. They're just playing way better hockey.
Chris?
Yeah, I like the over as well. 12-2, and the Rangers' last 14 games playing on no rest. And just so I can see Steve smile again, I'll take the Rangers on the money.
Yeah, good. Well, good.
Martin
No, it was a
Brodeur
good
still
game
playing
yesterday.
for the
The
Devils.
Rangers Bruins game was a real good game yesterday, man.
Rod had the Rangers in that one.
Yes, he did.
Well, that was the first question of the day. Some guy asked about the plus 1.5. Was that a good bet? I wasn't even looking at that. And then I was like, oh, that's a good bet. Yep, I'll take that.
Boston College versus Richmond over under 141.
Oof.
Chris asked the toughest questions of anybody on these shows. I will tell you that much.
I personally think that game stays under. I think it's late in the 60s. 60,
Yeah.
61.
Hopefully you guys caught my Albany American video. I did it, just because I knew it was an early start, and Albany definitely the name brand of that matchup. But I thought all the numbers pointed to American there, getting 5.5 points in that one. It's knotted at 64 with 3 minutes and 54 seconds left, and I tell you, it just goes to show you, you could take Albany versus American, throw it at 10 o'clock in the morning, throw 5 points in the way, put a couple bucks on one team or the other, and it's like watching the Super Bowl to me. Anyways, no different. Let's see. That's why people ask me all the time, who's going to win the Super Bowl? It's like, I don't even know who's going to win the Albany American game yet. But let's see. So back to this game, Boston College and Richmond. I did a video pick on this, but it was on the side. Let's see. You guys have any thoughts on this, or you want me to go?
No, I like the under here. I think that's too many points. I don't see that happening, and I like the under.
Chris, I know you're a CBB guy.
Yeah, like I said, I like the under. The under as well. I think this game hangs around in the 60s, maybe 67, 62, 68, 61,
Yep.
something around there.
Rod?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like the under there too. As long as we don't get overtime.
Yeah. I mean, Richmond plays in higher scoring games. BC's games generally lower scoring. Oh, it is a tough one. 141 seems to be the high side. I like the under too. Okay. Yeah, the Illinois quarterback is out. We know that. Williams. Guys are top shelf. Thank you. Oh, someone's going to get booted. Rain in Kentucky, over under 52. Thoughts on the effects of rain? I always think rain favors the offense, depending if it's as long as it's not torrential. Steve, any thoughts there?
No, I think the rain will affect, and I like the under.
How about you guys?
I like the under too.
I don't know.
So do I.
I always think the rain, unless it's torrential, always favors the offense. I just always think it does. No, it's a tough call. I'm going to go with the over. I got over in UK, UL, under. I'm out of space on my sheet. That's how I know it's late in the show here. I'm going to have to flip it. That's what I'm going to have to do. Okay. Oregon versus Oregon State. Steve?
It's a rivalry game, no doubt. A lot of points, too. What was it, 19?
Civil
19?
War.
It's a civil war. Oregon coming off, obviously, a disappointing loss. I'll take Oregon's. I'll take the Beavers like we talked about yesterday. We're Beaver guys, so there's too many points. I think Oregon State. I think because it's a civil war, I'll take the Beavers and the points.
I'm on the Ducks. We know who Rod is on. Chris?
Yeah. I'm on Oregon State as well. 5-0 against the spread on the road this season. Rivalry game.
I like the Ducks at home. I just think at Outson it's tough building. I think this is one of those rivalries where the stadium has a lot to do with it, because we don't see these are not teams that get covered a bunch on TV. They don't get the Alabama treatment, and they don't get the Ohio State treatment, that's for sure.
Not even close.
These are two tough buildings. Corvallis, Oregon is super tough, and Alton Stadium in Oregon is gruesome on opponents. It's just a frenzy, and I think that's part of the problem here, and it kind of feeds it. Let's see. Stephen F. Austin versus Arkansas State in college hoops. Stephen F., of course, coming off of the Duke win. Any thoughts, Chris? Coin toss it? We can coin toss
please.
it.
Coin toss it.
Yeah,
We're
please.
at that point in the show. It's getting late. Heads for Stephen F. Tails. Heads.
Tails.
Tails.
Come on.
Rod's got ARC. I got SFA on the coin flip. All right. Boston College, Pitt.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those games where it's either Boston College wins it outright or they lose by about 60. I have a feeling they lose by 60. I've seen Pitt in these last game of the season games. Remember last year, or 2 years ago, my Hurricanes went into Pittsburgh in this same spot and got beat, and they were like a top-ranked team in the country at that point. They were looking at a major bowl game and got absolutely crushed by Pitt. I like Pitt here.
Yeah, I like Pitt here too.
I like Pitt too.
Chris,
Who
BC,
we got?
Pitt. We have a consensus. It's been rare.
We have
today.
enough consensus.
Yep, we got picks on all the NBA games, and we have picks on all the NBA games at pickdogs.com. I also did a video on each and every game. If you have a question about a specific game, this is the format: Team A versus Team B with the point spread. We got the Nuggets 4.5 against the Hornets. It's an interesting game. I can't even remember who I picked on the video. It's one of those games. I think I took the Hornets at home. Pretty sure. Let me see. Oh, the Nuggets aren't playing the Hornets. That's why.
I was gonna say.
I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, I can't think of what's going on in this because they're not playing each other.
We were just testing you.
Baylor minus 14 against Kansas. Any of you guys?
I'll take Baylor all the way here. Kansas.
Rod?
Yeah, I like Baylor.
I like Baylor too.
Chris?
Yeah, I like Baylor as well. I know it's a home senior day, but I can't. I don't like Kansas. It's like
We did this game. Yes. San Jose versus Arizona. Rod?
I like the under in this game, and I also got Arizona. I think back at home here, the Coyotes can sneak one out on the Sharks here. It's a close game. It's a 1-goal game.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same like Arizona. I like the under. San Jose, in their last 3 back-to-back spots, the second game they've scored 4 total goals in those 3 games. So the way Arizona plays defense, I like the Coyotes and the under as well.
We haven't done a parlay today. We're going to do it now. Rod, who are your top plays today? You killed it yesterday. Hit the birdcage.
Today we're going to go with a 3-way 3-teamer. We're going to take the Avs, the Oilers, and the Jets. And that should give you a plus 1,022. Almost 10 to 1 on your money.
10 to 1. How about you, Chris?
I think it's my time to catch one today, so I'm going to go Washington on the puck line at plus 121, Winnipeg plus 101, and Philadelphia plus 125.
Steve?
I like Illinois. I don't care that the quarterback's hurt. Northwestern stinks. I think Illinois. I like Notre Dame to beat up Stanford, and I love Clemson rolling over South Carolina.
I'm going to go Michigan on the money line, Auburn on the money line, Oklahoma State on the money line. It's going to be mine. Okay. Recap. I took Michigan. Steve took Ohio State. Rod with Ohio State. Chris with Michigan. Auburn for me. Auburn for Steve. Alabama for Rod. And Chris, who'd you take? Auburn?
Auburn, yeah.
Purdue for all of us. Georgia for all of us. Chris took Georgia Tech. I like Marshall. Everyone else likes FIU. Everyone else likes Wyoming. I took Air Force. Everyone, Chris and I on UNLV. Rod and Steve on Nevada. Florida State basketball for all of us. The Leafs for Chris on the puck line. The Sabres for Rod to pull the upset. Let's see. SMU for us 3. Chris is on Tulane. UCLA for us 3. Chris is on Cal. Flyers all the way for Rod at minus 2.5. Reverse puck line at plus 540. Chris, I think, took him at minus 1.5 also, right, on that?
Yep.
So big money on the Flyers. Notre Dame for us 3, and Chris took Stanford. Tennessee for the football guys in basketball. VCU for the Canada guys that have never been roasted on YouTube by the Tennessee fans. Syracuse for everybody, and Capitals, another big play for the puck dogs. Rod minus 2.5. Chris -1.5. This is one of their strong plays for the day. I took the over in the Clemson game, and I think everyone else took Clemson. I took over in the in Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. Only Chris took the under in that one, and then there's their Clemson picks. They took Clemson there, so it's just because of all the hockey picks. It's just different order. LSU for us three. Chris is on Texas A&M. I took the under in the. We all took the under in the BC Richmond game. I took over in Oklahoma. Oh, in UK Louisville. Everybody else is on the under. Oklahoma State for I believe all of us. The Panthers for Rod. UCLA. Wow. Over on the Panthers game for Rod, and over on the Panthers for Chris.
No, under.
Under.
Under
Chris.
on the Panthers game. Chris has the over.
All right, under on the Panthers. Then the Rangers under again, right?
Over.
Over on the. Oh, so I got. That's what it is. I got it in between those two. The over on the Rangers. Chris had the over as well, and then 2-pager today. Stephen F. Austin on the coin flip for me. Arkansas State on the coin flip for Rod. Pitt across the board for all of us in that one. Then we took, these guys all took Baylor. I took the over in that one. They like the Coyotes and the under, both of them do. Then we did our parlays. I took a money line 3-teamer. Michigan, Auburn, and Oklahoma State, all on the money line. Steve took Illinois, Notre Dame, and Clemson. Just parlay them up, lay the wood. All 3 favorites. Rod took the Avs, Oilers, and Jets. 3-team parlay, pays about 10-1. Chris, Washington on the puck line with Winnipeg and the Flyers. So there you have it. Pretty solid show there. Thanks again, guys, for joining us. Thanks everyone that joined us. Thanks for all the thumbs up.
Yep.
You gave us the thumbs down. Well, you got some issues. So what I do is I subscribe to your channel. I set a notification just so I could come and hit the thumbs down. I admitted I do it to one other show out there every day. But anyways, that's just me. But I don't subscribe. I just know what time the show is, and I just go by and hit the thumbs down quickly.
Do we know what show that is?
Yeah, I'm one. Let's just say I'm one of maybe the dozen people that shows up to watch it. You know, it's like they didn't do the show one day, and it's like, man, there's at least 11 disappointed people out there because there's always like 12 to 14 people watching. I know I'm one of them, right? Because I gotta hit the thumbs down, and then I go. It's like. Wow, man, there's going to be 11 disappointed people out there.
You walk in the room and you find 11 computers sitting around them. They're just watching
It's, you know what? It's probably them monitoring the comments. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it. Yeah, it's got to be a couple of them, right? Oh, man. Anyways, thanks again, guys, for joining us. And I'll be back at halftime of Michigan, Ohio State, and I'll see if anyone wants to join me. If these guys just shoot me a message on Skype, but you guys can join me for a halftime show. We're doing Auburn, we're doing Michigan, and then probably Bedlam. So, all right, I'll see you guys later. If not, it's tomorrow with Steve Monahan. I don't know how many hockey we got tomorrow, guys.
3.
3 hockey. You guys can have the day off. I'll do tomorrow with Steve for NFL Sunday.
Shovel your snow, right?
Yeah, we didn't do an NFL show this week, so it should be a good one. Have a great day, everyone. It's a great day to be a college football fan. I see on ESPN, I have it on the screen, even though I don't hear a word that they're saying. They've all got Alabama in this one. So, anyways.
Okay.
That's scary because they're not so good. When they all ESPN picks everything, now it's scary. Now I want to go the other way. They're bad. What's their record?
They all took Alabama.
Oh.
Here's Ohio State, Michigan. Let's see what
Just about to start. 4 minutes till kickoff.
Gee, Desmond took Michigan.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Reese. Who is? I don't even know who that guest is. I couldn't even tell you. I can't see that far. Let me see. Put my glasses on. Eric. I don't know who that is.
Oof, I don't know either.
Ohio State for Lee, and Kirk takes
Nobody. He can't.
a little long-winded. He takes. Man, he is really explaining his case. He takes Ohio State. Anyways, thanks, guys. I'll see you guys at halftime of Ohio State, Michigan. Have a great
See you guys.
first half.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
again to the Puck Dogs for joining us.
See you guys.